What's up, guys? Before we get into the show, I got to tell you about our friends over at Strava Craft Coffee, who have been making CBD-infused coffee for years. You got to try this stuff out. It's great, it's rich, it's tasty, and it has the benefits of CBD infused right into the coffee. You can sign up as a subscriber and save 20% off every single time they send it straight to your door. Or you can use that code DNVR25. Yep, it used to be DNVR20. Now it's DNVR25. You can get 25% off your first order. So make sure you check it out. And if you want to, you can come on down to the DNVR bar where we have Strava Craft Coffee Cold Brew right there on tap. So make sure you check out Strava Craft Coffee today. Happy Friday, Broncos Country, and welcome into another edition of Three Ring Circus. We've got a really exciting show today, and man, all week I end up looking forward to these shows, guys, and this one I'm super, super excited about. How are you guys doing?
My boys, what's up? I'm doing so good, and man, I cannot wait for this show as we are joined by Mr. Denver himself. Guys, I grew up listening to Mr. Vic Lombardi on the radio. I watched him call all the Nuggets games, and now we get to talk to him. Vic, what's up?
Do you care to tell the people what happened before this show started? I couldn't figure out the technology. And it seems to be a reoccurring theme in my life. You guys, you kids and your technology. I can't figure it out, but thanks for having me. I really am honored and privileged.
Hey, I'm just glad I'm not the oldest guy on here today, Vic. So thanks for joining us.
I was going to tell you, just ditch Instagram, download TikTok. It's like Instagram, but motion pictures.
Bro, I'm already on TikTok. Come on, man. I mean, I got two daughters. They had me on TikTok for a while, but I feel, in case you haven't heard, I got hacked yesterday, and I don't know if you guys have been hacked. So around noon, my Twitter and my Instagram were taken over by someone else. I couldn't get in, and I started to panic big time, right? Because your social media accounts, they're basically a part of your personality. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, someone's going to put something out there, and I didn't know what to do. I got back into Twitter about 4 hours later. I still can't get back into Instagram. And that really bothers me. I am locked out. I don't have the codes, whatever the necessary codes are. If anybody has those codes, please send them my way.
Yeah, we got to get that figured out for you, Vic. Don't they have anyone over there at Altitude, like an IT person who can help you with this?
They're not helping me.
Okay, before we jump all the way into the show, I want to tell everyone that we are presented by MSU Denver Online. Check them out, msudenver.edu/online for all they have to offer. Tons of great stuff going on over there. Got 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs. So if you're looking to further your education, it's a great place to do it. And MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So if you're looking to keep that job and further your education at the same time, MSU is the place to do it. All right, Vic. We have a game for you to play. I'm going to let Zach lead us into the game here, but it's a good old-fashioned game of Would You Rather. We've got some Broncos Would You Rathers and just some general life Would You Rather. So we're excited to see what you have to answer.
This is a cool production, by the way. You got the graphics. You got people punching the graphics up. It's amazing what we can do online these days and how far we've advanced in just 12 months with COVID, isn't it? Like 12 months ago, were you able to put a show like this online?
We didn't know, like we could have, but I feel like COVID forced you to learn this type of stuff,
Yeah.
and figure it out. So all of our producers, like Kale, who's behind the scenes now, Allie, like they had to figure out, hey, how can we do all this stuff remotely? How can we do it all from home? And it, when you're forced to adapt, you find some cool stuff.
But I'm ready to play any game you bring my way. Let's go.
All right, let's put you on the hot seat, Vic. First one coming up of would you rather. All right, would you rather roll with Drew Lock for this year or draft a quarterback in the first round?
That's a hell of a question, because my obvious answer would be to do both, right? Because I wouldn't mind one bit if Drew had some competition and they found some competition in a draft choice. So if you make me make that decision now, drafting ninth, I would say roll with Drew Lock. If somehow you're able to identify a guy and move up a couple spots, draft a quarterback. But one or the other, I'd say roll with Drew Lock.
Just in general, how do you feel about Drew? Are you in the camp of, hey, second year in the system, a little bit of continuity, getting those weapons back healthy, he can take a big jump forward? Or are you more in the camp of it's only a matter of time before he's, out of here?
Maybe I'm too much of an easy grader, but I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, there were times last year where you're watching a game and you're like, all right, this guy's not the answer, right? And then there are other times when you have to reflect and say, well, yeah, he hasn't had any consistency with his coaching staff. He'll get that. He never had the benefit of an offseason last year. He'll get that. He's going to have a stout defense. That'll help him. I just think one more year. Give me one more year just to make sure. If there's any uncertainty, give me that year. Because let's be honest. Let's say you do draft a rookie quarterback and you install him as the quarterback. Rookie's not going to get you to the promised land. I mean, that's far-fetched. So give me 1 year, Drew, and if it doesn't work, wash your hands of it and move on.
Now, I think that's a really good point. Now, the interesting thing, though, rolling with Drew Lock and not drafting a quarterback, it still means they're bringing somebody else. So what if that somebody else is Gardner Minshew or Sam Darnold, Darnold in particular, I think, is really in play from what I've gathered.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring in those two names specifically, they're not here to just say, hey, have a good game, Drew. Hope you do well. They're here to win the job. They're here to get playing time. They think they're better than Drew Lock. Well, they better. They're not here just for ornamental reasons. Yep. So it's a different story than a rookie quarterback. A rookie quarterback's still a development guy. Those two dudes have played and they've proven themselves in the league in some capacity. Not great, but they think they're starters. So a different kind of quarterback, Andrew. I agree with you. If you make that choice, you're bringing those guys in to win the job as much as they possibly can.
We have an important transmission here. I'm not sure if you saw it. Our friend Brandon Perna just paid us $10 just to tell you that your face looks very punchable today.
I swear to God, Brandon. I swear to God. Next time I see you climb out of your hole in Pueblo, wherever the hell you live, we're going.
Oh, my God. DNVR will put this fight on at the DNVR bar. We'll put a ring in the middle of the bar, charge everyone like $50 to get in. We'll make a fortune.
Perna's the best.
Friend of the program, Brandon Perna. All right, let's move on to the next one here.
All right, Vic, would you rather, let's see when it pops up. Drum roll. This is a juicy one. Okay, only eat Pop-Tarts for the rest of your life or only eat Hot Pockets for the rest of your life. You going sweet or savory here, Vic?
Well, how soon do I want to die? You're basically asking me how much longer do I want to live? Any self-respecting Italian would never eat a Hot Pocket. I'm not Mark Motion. I'm not doing that crap. All right. So I would rather die eating all that sugar that is a Pop-Tart. That's 170% sugar. Give me 3 months of straight Pop-Tarts and I'll be in my coffin happy.
At least you'll go out on a sugar high.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
They don't. You're telling me they don't have like the meatball mozzarella Hot Pockets in Italy?
That's so funny. Like if you showed up in Italy in one of their delis and said, "Hey, give me a Hot Pocket," they'd probably escort you out of the restaurant, man. They wouldn't let you back in.
Have you deported?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. All right, let's see what we got. What do we got next?
All right, Vic, would you rather, I can tell this one's going to be juicy too. Would you rather eat soup for the rest of your life with no spoon or sandwiches only with a fork and a knife?
Oh, this is easy for me. Am I one of those weirdies? I guess I am a weirdie because my family hates it. I only eat soup with nothing. I grab the bowl and slurp. That's how I eat my soup. Honest to God.
Everywhere, restaurants.
I'm not joking, because when you use a spoon, you're always going to drop some, and it drops. The rest of it comes up into your shirt and tie every single time, and it leaves a stain. I've learned the hard way, so now I'm just going old school, caveman style, and slurping the hell out of it. I have no issues with it.
That's smart.
I wish we could queue up the video of you slurping your milk while trying out the CJ Anderson cereal.
I love a good slurper. Came out wrong.
The best part is CJ's trying to keep a straight face, and Vic is just slurping the milk as obnoxiously as he can. Finally, CJ just loses it.
All right, next one coming up for you, Vic, is would you rather lose Callahan, Fuller, and Darby for 5 games each, so each missed 5 games, or lose one of them for the entire season? This is a rough one.
Knock on wood here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. God, man, what kind of masochists are you here?
That's me. This is my question.
Wow, that's a tough one, because I guess I would say one for the entire season, because then you have alternate options. You can, all right, we're going to have to lean on this dude. If you start losing guys in chunks and in games of stretches of 5, it's tough to get any chemistry going. And when you got a secondary, chemistry means a lot. I think these guys will tell you. You got to know. My favorite example of that, when the Broncos beat the Patriots in the 2015 AFC title game. You remember the play when, who came in motion? And Aqib Talib and Chris Harris were talking to one another, and they basically handed off a receiver. And it proved to be the game-clinching play. Guys in the secondary got to talk. That chemistry is so vital and so important. So when you're missing guys for chunks of a season, that hurts deeply. I'd rather miss one guy for the entire season.
Yeah, that's a great point and a great example there. And Vic, what do you thought of those moves that the Broncos have made specifically at that cornerback position?
Oh, I'm psyched. I'm ecstatic. I mean, listen, this is all on paper, obviously, and until it translates to the field. But on paper, I think the Broncos have upgraded. I think on paper, this is their most talented secondary since that no-fly zone. On paper, if nobody gets hurt, they answered the call here. You got your slot guy in Callahan. You got your 2 corners taking care of the outside. You brought back Kareem for half a. I don't know how they pulled that trick off. I mean, if I'm Kareem Jackson and I'm being told you're going to take that deep pay cut, I'm out of here. And yet they managed to bring him back. He looked at the market. Good on the Broncos, man. They made it all happen, and they did it in the span of 10 days.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And since we're talking about offseason moves, Vic, it seems like every move that George Paton's made has been very well received on this podcast, from you, from pretty much everyone. Is there anything that you haven't liked that George has done so far?
Well, obviously the controversy surrounding Phil Lindsay and letting him walk, and they have their reasons, I guess. I won't agree with them, but that's fine. It's interesting because Paton comes in and automatically you want the new guy to do something, right? Fix it. And he took his time. He's running at his own pace. You're trying to hurry him up. He's not going to be hurried up. Kareem Jackson, for example, when they decided not to pick up, I go, God, that's a big loss. I don't know about you guys, but when they decided not to pick up his option, I thought there's no chance he's coming back. And I sat there and go, man, they're going to miss his physicality, his tenacity. They're going to miss all of that. And yet, lo and behold, they knew what they were doing. So there aren't many things he's done yet that have made me shake my head. Phil Lindsay, that one, there wasn't enough money at stake. It's $1 million in pro football. I just didn't see that. I didn't see the need to make people mad. And maybe they have a completely different impression than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it came down to, honestly, is Pat Shurmur didn't want him. He said, I don't have much of a use for him here.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, if you're gonna pick coaches over players, I think you're in the wrong business. Very few coaches get that luxury.
Yep, it's very true. I agree. Really, in any sport.
Name a sport where, again, Belichick's done it all. Belichick's done everything. He is arguably the greatest coach of all time. Took Brady away from him last year. How'd that work out?
One of them won the Super Bowl. The other didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not like Bruce Arians is chopped liver, though, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And the other thing here is you're choosing an assistant coach, not even a head coach. You're choosing a coordinator who has basically, coordinators have been disposable around here for the last few years.
And Andrew, it was obvious, though, when they brought Shermer in and then they went out and signed Melvin Gordon and they gave him the money he did. You connect the dots. It's obvious why they did what they did, and that's fine. But coaches are hired to be fired at every level, every time. So it's up to you to decide who you're going to put your stock in.
Man, that's good. Coaches are hired to be fired. That's brutal, but it's the truth.
That's what it is.
Yep. All right, let's dial up the next one, Kale. All right, Vic, would you rather have all of your teams win a championship in the same year or have 10 – wait, this doesn't make sense.
Okay, all the teams win the championship in the same year, or you get 10 straight years of the playoffs for all the teams, but no championship.
Kind of the Tampa experience.
Oh, my God.
And with your teams winning championships in 1 year, they don't make the playoffs the other 9 years.
Oh, wow. That's a nugget you threw at me that makes it hurt. If you're in playoff position for 10 straight years, right, and you're vying for a championship, the word vying is the operative word here. You're the talk of the town. It's wonderful. Everybody's into it. I think I would rather take the latter, 10 years of playoffs, because you're still in the conversation and your teams are meaningful teams with meaningful wins and everybody's into it. If you give me a championship for all of them in 1 year and then they fall off the face of the earth, what the hell am I going to do? What do I do with my hands? That sucks.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And I agree with you, Vic. I mean, for you, could you imagine the Broncos, Nuggets, Rockies, Avs, Notre Dame? They're all in the playoffs every single year. Yeah. And while it doesn't come to a championship, I mean, for 11 months out of the year, you're thrilled with it.
The closest we've ever come in this town is the late 90s when the Sporting News, rest in peace, Sporting News was a print version of Sports Illustrated competitor. They dubbed the city of Denver, and I believe it was 1998, the greatest sports town in America. And they did this every year. They dubbed a different city. And those were the years with the Broncos' consecutive Super Bowl championship. The Avs, they or a couple years early, won a Stanley Cup. They were kicking butt. The Blake Street Bombers were wowing the crowds. The only team that was down then were the Nuggets. But that was when the city of Denver truly was a city of not all champions, but close to champions.
Yeah, and even like back then, CU was a top 10 football program.
Right.
CSU was really good back then.
Sonny.
The salad days of Sonny. I mean, everything was, even CU in basketball was an NCAA team right around that time with Ricardo Patton. I mean, everything seemed to be rolling except the Nuggets at that moment.
I have a weird brain. I remember Sports Illustrated covers. And it's funny you bring that up, Andrew, because I remember there was a cover of CSU beating Arizona back when Arizona could play football. And it was a big deal, man. Sonny took his boys down to Tucson and beat the Wildcats, and it made the cover of Sports Illustrated. You're exactly right.
Yeah. That might have been the Desert Swarm defense?
Yeah,
it
was. That's exactly right.
It's funny in the comments here. James is saying, "Easy, give me all the championships," and I actually think it's a little bit different depending on which seat you're sitting in. Because for us, this also happens to be our livelihood, and it is so much easier to do our jobs when the teams are winning. So if the Broncos are in the playoffs and the Nuggets are in the playoffs and the Rockies are in the playoffs and the Avs are in the playoffs, this whole town is buzzing. And everyone is, turning on the games every night. You look at, and someone else in the comments said, Broncos are halfway to the first option, 10 years without the playoffs. It's been miserable. It's been terrible. And they did win a championship right on the other side of that. And I think that experience of going from the Broncos winning a Super Bowl to being damn near irrelevant every year since has definitely taught me, just give me competitive teams year in, year out, and I'll be happy.
I cannot agree with you more. It's just you want to be in the conversation, right? Yeah. You want to be relevant. There's nothing worse in sports than apathy and irrelevance. I mean, think about it. Yeah. What are your expectations out of the Rockies this season? What expectations do you have? So what fun is that? If at least you can say, this team's got a shot. then okay, then we got something. If you know deep down you got no shot, what's the point here? What are we doing? We're wasting our time.
Especially when there's 162 games with them. That's brutal.
And from a football perspective, I mean, I've lived that with Tampa Bay for a while, that they win the Super Bowl and they literally did not win another playoff game until this past January when they went on a Super Bowl run. And down there, the last dozen years or so in particular are just misery over and over, trying everything to make it work. And then finally they threw up their hands and said, let's try a 43-year-old quarterback, and it paid off. But you can't blame them for trying that because they were miserable, and and their fans had largely lost hope.
Yeah. You guys bring up some great points, very astute observations. But you said it first, Ryan, we're different. And I have to keep reminding myself, because when you're in the business, as much as we want to say we're like the common fan, we're not. We're in the business. And when you make a business out of sports, you treat it and you look at it through a different scope.
Yeah. And speaking of business, Brandon Perna again chimes in and says he was the one to hack your Instagram full frontal photos coming soon.
Son of a bitch. Are you allowed to curse on that?
You are now.
I swear to God, I wouldn't put it past him at all. You have all my codes. You used to come to my house. You have access to my house. I'm surprised I don't find you here.
The problem is just that you don't find him, not that he's not there.
Don't worry. Full frontals. Is it full frontals pre or post prostate surgery? I want to know.
All right, what do we got next?
All right, Vic, would you rather have the best round of golf in your life, but then below average after that? Or would you rather have just an above average golf season for an entire season?
So think of it this way. You start the season. What's your personal record?
I shot it last year, June 15th. It was my best round ever.
What was it?
Shot a 69.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
So your first round of the season, you shoot 68.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the season, you play under your handicap or above your handicap. I know what you're saying. I'll take the 68 because you can always go back to that, right? You may suck for the rest. And by the way, after shooting that 69, I sucked for the rest of the year.
So there you go. You lived it.
Yeah, but what happens is mentally, you get to a certain level and you're like, oh man, this round started sucky. I suck now. I'll never shoot 16. And then you just fall apart because you're not on that pace anymore. And that's what golf does to you. It's the ultimate tease, man. It's a tease is what it is. So you get to that level and you want to go back so bad and you just can't get there.
Yeah, I would do the exact same as you because you have that for the rest of your life. The whole reason you really step on the golf course, obviously you're just there to have fun and play, but every day you go out there, you're hoping you shoot your personal record.
Sure.
Most years you don't. So yeah, I would take the PR for sure. Also, that reminds me, Vic, you have tried this once before and failed, I believe, but we want to do the hole-in-one challenge this year. Would you do it again?
I'll do it again. It was painful though, Ryan. I want to warn you. We did it a couple of years ago, Kyle Keefe and I, because we saw that dude had like two holes in one round, and I'm like, come on. So we tried. We went up to Broken Arrow and we set up from 142 yards away, an easy little shot. We hit 1,700 golf balls that day. 1,700. Nothing came close to a hole-in-one.
How were the arms after that?
My hands were blistered for a week.
Yeah.
It hurts to try. It's tougher than it looks.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it even more now. I think we'll get Spencer and Mitch out there.
Those guys are good, though. They might be able to do it.
Yeah, Mitch, I know, has a few under his name, so hopefully he can help us out. Do you have one?
I got one 2 summers ago, Bear Creek. Didn't see it go in, but I got one.
I still don't have one. I'm teaching Allie how to play right now, and her second ever round on the course.
Shut up.
If it wasn't for the COVID hole with the little stupid piece of foam in there, it would have dropped.
Oh wow, it counts.
I want to say that, but she doesn't feel it. It doesn't feel the same for it. It didn't go in.
Ryan's not giving it to her.
We're going to use that
give it
last
to her, but
all right, we're going to
Yeah,
use
damn
all
it.
of that in our drug take segment next Friday. Everything you just said, we're saving that. Thank you.
All right. Do we have another one?
All right, so here's this one. Would you rather have your team win a championship, but you can't watch or listen, or you get to see every snap, but you only get to the team only makes it to the playoffs?
So what you're asking is, do you want to be like altitude TV like now, or do you?
Oh.
Is
this one a little too close to home?
No, it sucks, man. I'm beyond. I got nothing left. I cannot argue this point anymore. Here we are. It's a day after the Nuggets made a colossal set of trades, and I'm going to the studio tonight to do a Nuggets game, and 60% of the public in Metro Denver cannot watch the game legally. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's pathetic. That's impossible. And I'm sick of the blame game. I'm sick of blame altitude, blame Comcast, blame Dish. I'm with the people that are out there at this point. I don't care who is to blame. We got to fix it, man. There are kids out there that are missing out on the opportunity to grow and love these teams. There is a generation of Nuggets fans and Avalanche fans that we're losing, and I want to share these games with folks. You know how hard it is when you tweet something, great win by the Nuggets, and all you get in return is, well, we didn't watch it. Well, how great can it be? That sucks, man. You want people to see your product. They can't see it. I don't know what else to say. I forgot what the question was.
Yeah, your answer was good enough.
That was good.
Yeah, it is a shame, and you're right. It's kind of like all these debates, which just end up in finger pointing, and it's just a bummer.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, we're taking a lot of the arrows, because what I've tried to do the last year is explain to people why we don't have a deal, and the why. At this point, people don't care why. I can give you all the facts and all the numbers. All I know is that 5 years from now, hell, a year from now, this sports model, regional sports model, is not going to look like it's been looking the last. It's changing. It's ever changing. Yeah. That takes time. Remember how long it took for newspapers to change from in your hand to subscribe to basically a digital model? Do you remember how long it took for music to change, right? Digital. It takes time. Just that's all I can get. That's all I can offer you right now. It'll change eventually.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And Vic, since we have you on, really quick, what do you think of those Nuggets trades?
Oh, I'm psyched. I really am. I think they addressed everything they needed. Now, can they use another 3-point sniper? Every team can, but they got better in the front court. They got a rim protector, and they got a backup center. To me, that was the biggest need, backup center, because when Joker left the court, they were scrambling to find a five that worked. Now, I'm not saying JaVale McGee's the end-all, but he provides an anchor defensively to allow you to play your game. So I love what they did yesterday.
And so much fun. I'm right there with you.
Are those guys going to be available tonight?
No. I would be shocked if they were. Usually it takes a couple days in the NBA, and don't ask me why. They do have airplanes, but seriously, they travel from game to. What's taking so long? Let's go. But I would be stunned if you saw both of them tonight. I expect them to make their debuts on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll never forget when they made the Melo trade, and all the guys made it to the stadium like second quarter or something, and they were doing interviews on altitude with Timofey Mozgov, and he was talking about
it's ever changing. Back when you can watch altitude,
It's so sad. All right, Kale, let's dial the next one up. Vic, would you rather have George Payton attend Alabama's pro day next week, or have him attend Ohio State's pro day? So pretty much this comes down to watching Mac Jones or watching Justin Fields, because they're both on the same day. So he's going to have to choose.
That's a great question. We talked about pro days for quarterbacks today, and I want to get you guys' stance on this, because to me, this is me. I think a quarterback pro day is the most overrated of all pro days for players. You're not thrown against a defense. You're not asked to do things that you don't normally in the game. I don't care about arm strength and all that stuff. You turn on the film. What are you looking at a quarterback's pro day? Besides wanting to talk to the quarterback, what exactly physically can he do against air that you can't pop in the tape and watch. I've never understood the concept of a quarterback pro day. So I'll minimize that to begin with. I think probably going to see Mac Jones is more important because he could fall to where the Broncos might make their pick. I don't think Justin Fields is attainable. I think Mac Jones is. So I'd probably say Mac Jones.
Well, I think he's attainable if you trade up, and the one thing I will say, like for Fields as well, is just I'd go with him because there's a little more talent there. But in general, what are you looking for? I feel like sometimes a quarterback physically can only hurt himself on his pro day, because what were we coming out of Mac Jones's first pro day this week talking about? We're saying, oh, guys are he's throwing a deep ball and there's not enough on it, and you see guys having to adjust. I remember back in 2014, similar things said about Teddy Bridgewater's pro day. That, there's not enough on the ball. He had a terrible day, and then he gets picked at the end of the first round. But what you are looking for is you're looking for demeanor. You're looking for how he interacts with people. I know that Peyton in particular is keeping an eye on that. That's one of the reasons why he wants to see him in person. And sometimes you do want to kind of get a feel for what he throws like in person. Like, is there a lot of juice on the ball? I mean, does it kind of whistle through the air? That sort of thing. I mean, I got a different impression watching Mac Jones in person down at Senior Bowl practices than I got from the television, because what I saw there is someone who, when he was going against the wind, had trouble throwing it through about a 25-mile-an-hour breeze. But then with the wind, he was dropping dimes because he's a guy, he's not a fastball pitcher, but he's got a curve, he's got a slider, that sort of thing. And so that kind of changed my outlook on Mac Jones a little bit. And I think that's the kind of thing you're looking for when you go to these pro days. It's just kind of the in-person thing changes your take.
I cannot argue that. You're exactly right. I guess my beef is thrown against air, not having defenders and a defense on the field. It's like, well, yeah, the guy's running a post rep. He's going to throw it there. There's no defenders. That's the only part. And the other point you make is everything in person is better. Like if we were doing the show, all of us in the studio, it would be a better show.
Right.
Doing it via whatever the hell what is this called? Streamy? What are we? Is this
StreamYard?
Yeah, whatever this is. It's always better in person. So I agree with you, Andrew. I mean, going to the place and seeing guys is better. I just think that the quarterback throwing against no defense, it always makes me laugh because that's never going to happen in real life.
So,
and guys, speaking of quarterbacks, breaking news.
We've got some big breaking news here. Not with the Broncos, unfortunately, but big NFL news. The Dolphins are trading the number 3 pick to the 49ers for the 12th pick, a 2021 third-round pick, and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. So 3 firsts and a third for number 3 overall for the 49ers, who must have their eyes on someone.
Well, I could tell you right now, and I'm tweeting it, Jimmy G's on line 1. Yes. Jimmy G is on line 1. He is suddenly going to be available.
Wow. So he could have the title of the second best looking Italian man in Denver.
Well, let me turn the tables. I'll ask you guys, because obviously they got a name in mind. They got a quarterback in mind. They see somebody, right? And I don't know what John Lynch's and Kyle Shanahan's ambitions are. Do you really want to take a team as talented as the Niners are, and they had a ton of injuries last year, and hand those keys over to a rookie quarterback and say, go get them? Or do you have to have all the issues that Jimmy G's had? At least he's got experience. He played in the big game, for crying out loud. He's been there. Who would you rather have run the show?
It's a really interesting question, and I can only go back to a conversation I had at the Combine with a 49ers source that year who said something along the lines to me, and this is, of course, after Drew Lock had such a great finish to that season. They said, if we had Drew Lock in that game instead of Jimmy G, I think we would have won.
Whoa. Well, what?
Yep. So
wow. I interviewed, and this was had nothing to do football related. I interviewed Kyle Shanahan 2 weeks ago for the podcast I do with Les Shapiro. And we were talking a little bit about the team, how it's doing. We didn't get into intricate football questions, but you could just tell the way guys react when you bring up the offense and the quarterback. You know what told me when the Niners were not, they didn't believe in Jimmy G. You remember the Super Bowl? What was it? $1:40 left in the half, and they ate the ball and ran out the clock. Essentially, you got $1:40 to go in the half, and you're not taking shots. That's all I needed to see. That's all I needed to know about what they think of Jimmy G.
And remember, everything he did is in a system that was tailored to help the quarterback out. That's one thing quarterbacks usually do very well in that scheme. It is as quarterback friendly as you're going to find once you get the cerebral aspects down and learn the playbook. And we've seen the best that Jimmy G can do probably.
Well, let me bring up a would you rather here, as we know that the Broncos and 49ers have a good relationship. Would you rather Drew Lock be the starting quarterback this season or Jimmy G?
God, that's a good one, man. So Jimmy G's contract, that they had an option, right? He's on that option year where it's not going to cost the Niners much to get out of it.
I think they have $3 million dead.
Okay, so what do you think the price tag of a Jimmy Garoppolo would be on the open market?
A lot less than he got on the last contract.
But especially right now, couldn't you get him for a 1-year prove-it deal?
Of course, yeah.
Especially with so many slots filled up around the league.
Yeah.
So you're talking 10, 15 mil?
Yep.
It would just be hard for me to say, well, here's a guy, Kyle Shanahan, who knows offenses pretty well, and these guys know what they're doing. They don't want this guy anymore.
Yeah.
What makes you think he's going to work here?
It's very true.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's the offensive mind that everyone wants, and if he's passing up on a guy, why would you want him?
Schefter apparently said that they don't plan on trading Jimmy G, according to some of the guys in the comments here. I didn't see that report, but you could say whatever you want. You can say that. Let's see what happens.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're going to trade him.
So 4 quarterbacks in the top 4 now?
Broncos got to get in the top 5 if they want one of the top 5 quarterbacks.
Isn't this crazy how this always happens, guys? Because college football season comes down to end, and you're like, all right, let's take a look at our quick mock that, 4 months later, you got 1 or 2 quarterbacks that'll go. As draft day approaches, quarterbacks, they move and move and move, and it happens every year. This is too much of a commodity. It's too important of an asset. If you have a pulse and you play the quarterback position, you might be a top 10 draft pick.
Yep.
It's very true. I mean, now it's pretty much guaranteed, right, that 5 quarterbacks are going at least in the top 10?
Well, I guess what? You got Lance. Lance and Mac Jones are the 2 wild cards. Are they going to go top 10? One of those 2?
Lance definitely will, yes.
You think he will? Okay, so then that leaves Mac Jones. Will he be that 5th quarterback? Will he be that guy to make it 5 in the first 10? That would be something else, man.
The last guy who was the 5th quarterback in the first round was Lamar Jackson, right?
It worked out okay.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
I was at that draft as I think you guys were too, and I remember sitting in the back of the room, and the Broncos had done their deal early, and I think hindsight works in mysterious ways. I was pretty happy with the Broncos and what they did. That was the Chubb year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was Bradley Chubb, and everybody's like, okay, that's a good pick. But I remember sitting back there going, dudes, Lamar Jackson is still there. Can we do something here? Can you move up? Can you go snag Lamar Jackson? I swear to God, I was beating that drum, and then he goes late, and now you see what he can do.
Yeah. Zach and I always reference when we were at the Combine that year, and we talked to John Elway, and I think it might have even been Zach who asked him, do you see him as a quarterback, or do you think that he's going to have to play another position? And John did say, I think if he's going to work out in the NFL, it's going to be at quarterback. I think he's going to have to play quarterback for somebody. And when we heard him just say for somebody, we knew he wasn't talking about them.
He had a habit of giving some heartbreaking responses at the Combine because it was the next year when the subject of Kyler Murray came up and said, well, if you're a short quarterback, you got to be in the shotgun. But then right there in the same moment said you can't have an offense that is shotgun based. And it's like, oh, man, come on, John.
That was me who asked him about Kyler.
Unfortunately, they learned the hard way. When it comes to quarterbacks, they come in all shapes and sizes, and you can't say you need this or that. That's not how that position works.
Sure isn't.
Yeah.
Do we have any more would you rathers in the can?
No, that is all the would you rathers.
That's it. We exhausted it.
Well, that works out well because I told Vic we'd have him out of here by 11:15, so we're coming up on that. Vic, you want to take a chance to plug your show?
Which one?
Any of them.
All of them.
We have a radio show we hope that is growing. We hope that people listen to it. We do it every morning, 7 to 10 on Altitude, and it's simulcast on Altitude Television. We have a lot of fun. It's a little different. We don't focus on one sport. We focus on many. And I don't want to go into a full rant on what I think about sports talk radio because I've done it since I've been in Denver for a long time, and I love where it's going. I love where it's been. But we truly talk sports with the plural, so appreciate anybody that joins us and listens to us. We go off the rails at times. Then also we do the Altitude thing, Tonight Nuggets. So I appreciate anybody watching and listening. This is an ever-changing business, and I love seeing what you guys are doing. And I've talked to you guys personally about this. This is much needed. And what you guys have done, you've taken this idea, 10, 20 years ago, you couldn't do this. You couldn't pull it off, right? And anybody can do it if you do it the right way. And you guys are doing it the right way. You're taking sports at the roots and at the ground level, and you're making sure you do it your way. And I really applaud you for it.
Well, thank you, Vic.
Thank you.
And I think the respect is very mutual. I'll echo what Zac says when he says, he's been following you his whole life and looking up to you. So appreciate you for coming on, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
Remember, you're not looking up to me. I'm 5'9".
Well, I am. I'm 5'8".
All right, I'm
Damn. I'm a freaking giant. See you guys.
But,
Thanks, man.
Vic, this
Thanks,
is too
Vic.
cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, boys.
All right, there he is.
That was awesome. And I mean, what a perfect way to end the Would You Rather with the news of Jimmy G coming down the wire. And guys, before we go any further, I have to ask you, hot off the press, Jimmy G or Drew Lock? Who are you taking there?
I just don't. If your goal is to make the playoffs, you're just saying we just want to make the playoffs any way we can. I think Jimmy G is the better option. He's a more sure thing when it comes to that. But Jimmy G's not leading you to a Super Bowl this year. I don't think anytime to a championship. So, if you're just trying to get back on the map, and maybe you could point to like if the Broncos made a trade for Jimmy G, this is what I would be saying. I'd be saying, hey, look back at Tim Tebow. This is a guy who probably wasn't going to get you to a Super Bowl and win you a Super Bowl, but he got you to the playoffs. It gained momentum for the franchise, and then the next move was Peyton Manning. You kind of got the ball rolling. Like he's obviously a lot better of a quarterback. At least throwing the ball.
Was insulting.
but the point is, if you're looking to go, if step C is competing for championships, and you're right now just saying, how do we get from point A to point B? I think Jimmy G could be a decent answer there. But to me, I would rather find the quarterback who's going to get me all the way to C. And to me, you're better off rolling the dice with Drew Lock this year. And if it doesn't work out, starting from square one, then bringing in someone who's going to get you to the middle.
Now, I think one thing also to consider on Jimmy G, you have to consider the cost, and he could be $24.9 million on the cap, and actually, if you assume the workout bonus, then he could be 25.5. And this is where you say, okay, what's the cost benefit here? I could trade for Sam Darnold and have him for less than $5 million. I've got Drew Lock on his rookie deal. I could trade for Gardner Minshew, and he could be on a rookie deal. And is Jimmy G, at least $20 million better than any of those guys to bring him in the room? I don't think so. And I think, and you kind of have to be practical here, because let's say you bring in Jimmy G and restructure that contract, but at some point you're paying the bill, whether it's this year or next year, if you've backloaded some things. And if you're paying the bill next year, that might mean you say goodbye to Von Miller after he's had a 14-sack season. So I can't rationalize it in the overall team building perspective. It's a pass for me.
But here's where I do rationalize it, and I say you go trade for Jimmy G, assuming that the trade is,
reasonable.
A day. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trading a first, a second, probably not even a third for this, because the way I'm viewing Jimmy G is a 1-year rental, or he does get cut and you pick him up for 10 or 15 million. I'm viewing him as a 1-year rental. And 3 weeks ago, guys, I would have said you roll with Drew Lock. But what what George Payton has done. He's built a playoff team, put in an average quarterback. This is a playoff team this year. Well, what is Jimmy G? He's at least an average quarterback. I think he can be 10 to 15. That's playoffs. The Broncos, I guarantee the Broncos are in the playoffs right now if they get Jimmy G. And so I'm going young personally, but I'm also probably not going out and getting all these guys on defense on 1-year deals. But the way this team is right now, I'm going for it this year, at least going for the playoffs. And Ryan, I don't think that Jimmy G is your plan A to get you to that championship, but he's plan B, and he's at step B, I should say. And then maybe you do what the Buffalo Bills did, and then you have your Jimmy G, a.k.a. your Tyrod Taylor, then you draft a quarterback next year. You do what the San Francisco 49ers just did, and you trade 3 first-round picks next year to go up and get your guy. So, yeah, I'm taking Jimmy G this year. And heck, you keep Drew Lock because you're not going to just dump Drew Lock right now. And if Drew Lock beats out Jimmy G this year in training camp, then great. Excellent.
Yeah, but from a Niners perspective, though, I can understand them holding on to Jimmy G because this is a team that's been derailed. They've had one season derailed by an injury to Jimmy G. Like they might be looking at it and saying, okay, let's bring in our guy who, by the way, I'm going to call my shot right now that it's Trey Lance. Let's bring in our guy. If he's better than Jimmy G, we'll start him right away. We can also do the ease him in thing where we let Jimmy G start the first 6 games or whatever, and then we bring in this guy. Or if if we want to roll from him from day one, well, if he gets hurt, we have arguably the best backup quarterback in the league. He's going to cost us a lot of money, but we can afford that for this 1 year.
And the other thing, if you believe in the QB wins thing, the Niners are, including playoffs, are 24-9 when he plays.
Yeah,
when he
starts. That'd be worth something, especially because you can point to those QB wins with a direct correlation. When he showed up on that team, that was a bad team. He showed up, they started winning instantly. So quarterback wins are whatever, they can be a fluky stat. They went undefeated with him, right, that first year.
But look at the alternatives. They were throwing out their CJ Beathard, and they had Nick Mullins for a time, although we all know that in 2018, Nick Mullins was good enough to beat the Broncos because of George Kittle.
Yeah.
No one wants to remember that. I'm sorry.
I tried to get to the mute button, but I was too late.
You're allergic to that game.
I was like, where is it? Can I get it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This has been a blast, guys. Maybe we just keep this show live until the Broncos make a trade into the top 5. And I guess Peyton throws us a bone.
I guess I have to write a Jimmy G story now, don't I?
Yeah, it might be a good one to have under the under the arm there. All right, before we move on to our next game here, I want to encourage you guys that if you enjoy this show, if you enjoy what we're doing, we'd love if you became a member at DNVR. There's so many different benefits to becoming a member. To start, you get a free DNVR shirt with your annual membership. If you guys haven't checked out DNVRlocker.com and seen all of our awesome gear, you're going to find something you love, and then you're going to say, I might as well get myself a 1-year membership so I can get this shirt for free. Of course, if you come down to the DNVR bar, which I assume is going to be a very good time tonight with a little bit of buzz around the Nuggets, you get an extra large beer for the same price as non-members pay for their beer. That's a pretty nice little token there. Of course, you can join the DNVR members lounge where you can talk Broncos with people all day, sort of like you guys are doing in the comments here. There's so many different things that make it worth it to become a DNVR member. Of course, all of our stories behind the paywall that you can read. I could go on and on and on. So make sure you check it out. Go to thednvr.com. Check out our member options. You can do monthly, you can do yearly, 3-year, lifetime, all sorts of great stuff. So check us out.
Also, make sure to check out our friends over at Gabby Insurance. Gabby stands for Get a Better Insurance, and that's exactly what they do there, guys. And they do it at such an easy way to do it. All you have to do is go to Gabby.com/DNVR. That's GABI.com/DNVR. And the average person saves almost $1,000 a month with Gabby Insurance. Guys, I did it just last week, and was incredible how easy the process was. 5 minutes to save hundreds of dollars. I kid you not, guys. I have I've had people reach out to me on Twitter, have people reach out to me on email, and also people just within DNVR say, oh my goodness, look at this. I'm saving $360, $400, $500, and it literally takes 5 minutes. So go to Gabi.com. That's GABI.com/DNVR. And the great thing is, let's say they don't beat your insurance rates. Well, you wasted 5 minutes doing it because they're not going to sell your information. You're not going to be hit up with spam calls from all these insurance companies. Nope. Gabi keeps your stuff safe and secure. So make sure to check them out. Gabi.com/DNVR.
You know, if you save $961 a year on average, if you do that, that means you got more beer money. And of course, that means Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. But it's not just more beer money anymore. It's more seltzer money, because you got to check out those Good Company hard seltzers that are now available. You can get a 15-pack with great flavors: apple pear, cherry, peach, berry, and as Krusty the Clown would say, the money melon, honeydew. So go to the Breck Beer Locator, check out where you can find those 15 packs of those Good Company Breckenridge Brewery seltzers. Of course, also, if you're in the Denver area, check out the Farmhouse, the restaurant they've got down at their brewery in Littleton. It's right off Santa Fe. You can eat in there, but maybe, hey, with everything going on, you still want to take out. No problem. Call 303-803-1380 from noon to 8 p.m. for pickup. You can get a great meal. You can get the full array of Breckenridge brews down there. And if you use that magical code DNVR, you're going to get $5 off your meal. What a great thing. Great beer, great food, and a little bit of a discount. So call 303-803-1380 from noon to 8 p.m. for pickup. And of course, wherever you are in this great land of ours, check out the Breck Beer Locator on the Breckenridge Brewery website, because the odds are you are probably not too far away from a grocery store, liquor store, convenience store, pharmacy, whatever, that has some of those delicious Breckenridge brews. I've found Breckenridge brews in Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Wisconsin, you name it. You're probably close to somewhere offering a taste of Colorado wherever you are in this country. So make sure you check out the Breck Beer Locator and find out where you can get some of those delicious Breckenridge brews and have a bit of Denver and Colorado wherever you go. Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR.
Great stuff, Mace.
Yeah, thank you.
A+ read. Okay, guys.
It's like I've done it before.
Right? We've got a few minutes here before we welcome on our guests for the Red Zone, because as always, we ran late in the first segment, which means we're backing up right into what's normally our third segment. We just need to start scheduling the Red Zone as our second segment every single time. But he's going to hop in here any second. So in between now and then, I want your guys' official predictions on who the Niners are targeting at 3. Now, Schefter says they don't have a specific target in mind. I call massive BS on that. Who do you think it is?
I don't call BS on that, because I think what they know is Trevor Lawrence is going 1. And then I think they think that Zach Wilson is going 2, but I think they're okay with Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. Ryan, I do think this move was made with Trey Lance in mind. And this is something that I said a couple weeks ago. The Trey Lance isn't making it past 4. In fact, I don't think he's making it past 3. This guarantees that, guys. I do not think Trey Lance is making it past 3 with this move. But I think that they're totally okay with Zach Wilson there if the Jets fall in love with Trey Lance. So I do think it was Trey Lance in mind. And I think it'll be Trey Lance, San Francisco 49er.
And it's one reason why I think Jimmy Garoppolo may still be there, because if Trey Lance is your guy, that's perfect. Then Garoppolo stays for a year and is your bridge and gets you through this year. Maybe you have a seamless transition in 2022. But you don't make this deal to 3 if you're not willing to say we are comfortable with any one of the top 3 quarterbacks. And so that's what this is telling me is it's obviously not going to be Trevor Lawrence, but it tells me they're comfortable with either Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, or maybe even Justin Fields, that they are fine with whoever they get at number 3. Like Zach, I think it's going to be Lance. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to fall in love with the brain of Trey Lance. I think that's kind of what he's looking for, that mental extension of him on the field, and Lance checks off that characteristic big time, probably better than the other quarterbacks in the draft. And that's why I think ultimately it's going to be Trey Lance going to the Niners.
So Henry here, who does our draft show with Andre, and you guys can check that out in the DNVR Broncos feed every single week. He says they're hoping for Wilson, but happy with Lance in his opinion. Man, I don't know. I mean, I think both those guys are a fit there, but I think the one they're in love with is Trey Lance.
Why would they not then jump to
Go to
number
2.
2? Wouldn't they try to 2 if Zach Wilson was their guy?
Well, and that brings up my next question is, first of all, would you have done this deal if you're the Broncos? 3 firsts and a third to get up to number 3.
Yes.
Okay. So now, by only going up to number 3, the Niners have put themselves in a little bit of a vulnerable position. So my question to you is, if you're the Broncos and let's say you're in love with one of Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, would you give up 3 firsts and a second, or does it need more than that to get up to number 2 and jump the Niners?
Well, here you go. What the 49ers just did is they went from 12 to 3. So that's 9 spots right there, giving up all of that. Broncos going from 9 to 2, only 7 spots. So I think this could be your exact trade package that you offered the Jets to do. I think it's number 9 this year, this year's 3rd round pick, and then 2021 or 2022 first and 2023 first. I think that's the blueprint right there.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you have some assets to offer. I mean, maybe instead of that 23 first round pick, it's Jerry Jeudy and a 2. Maybe
I'd rather give him the pick.
You got Cortland Sutton, you got Tim Patrick, you got KJ Hamler. I'd rather, if they were willing to take Jeudy and a 2 rather than the 1 in 23, I'm giving him Jeudy and the 2.
I want to give my guy every chance he can possibly get to succeed. And having Jerry Jeudy on your team, in my opinion, increases those chances of success.
Wait, so Ryan, would you do that trade? The initial one, 3 firsts, including 9 this year. Okay. And so we love pushing your limits with what you would do for Deshaun. Let me push the limits here. Let's do Mace's then, because you were squeamish, very squeamish and uncomfortable. Yeah. But let's say that's the offer. So Mace, what is it? It's 9 this year, a second this year, right? And then a first next year, and Jerry Jeudy.
So basically, it's a 2 and a 3, and the 9 this year. So you're 1, 2, and 3 this year. Your first next year, and Jerry Jeudy.
It depends. I'm not in love enough to do that deal. And honestly, I'm not really in love enough to do the other deal. But the way I'll rationalize it is, if they make that deal, that means they're in love enough. And as much as I believe in my football eye, I think that George Payton's is probably better than mine. So if there's someone out there, whether it's Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, I would not in any world sign off on this deal for Mac Jones. But if it's one of those two, if it's one of those two guys, and George Payton says, this is my guy, this is the guy I need to win a championship in Denver, you got to do what you got to do. But I'd much rather give up a first-round pick than Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, how about going up to 4 with Atlanta and saying you're happy with whoever of these 4 quarterbacks that falls to the 4th spot, you're happy with? And I think we if we're betting on a 4th quarterback at 4, it's Justin Fields.
Nope, not for me.
Okay, but here's the trade package. Take that last first round pick and take that off the table. So what you're trading is a first this year, you're number 9. You're trading a first next year, and you're trading a 3rd round pick this year. Are you doing that to move from 9 to 4?
No,
I am.
I don't want the 4th quarterback on the board. No way.
Just because he's the 4th quarterback?
Yep.
Okay,
but we already know that
I'm okay with any of the 5.
Are you okay with a 5th quarterback? Because the 5th quarterback was Lamar Jackson 3 years ago. I mean, I think that's kind of an arbitrary designation, and also it doesn't reflect the fact that the quality of quarterback classes is different from year to year.
The only reason that Lamar Jackson was the 5th quarterback and fell all the way to 32 is because there are stubborn. I'm not going to say anything too mean here. Stubborn people in the NFL who weren't smart enough to figure out how to use him, and that includes the Denver Broncos. So that's not the case with Mac Jones. He's just, in my opinion, he's just not as talented as the 4 guys in front of him. I don't want the 5th. I don't want the 4th. I want a top 3 guy here.
Okay, so what? But now let me put that to the test. The number 2 pick is it shocks the world a little bit. They had their guy last year, and that was Justin Fields. The Jets love Justin Fields. He goes 2, and then whoa, the 49ers, they get their choice. And then at number 4, Atlanta calls you right after the Jets pick Justin Fields, and they say, getting calls, I know you were interested. Do you want to do this deal right now? You don't get to see who the third quarterback is. You just know you're going to get the fourth quarterback.
So Niners are on the clock, and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance are on the board.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take the deal.
Okay. So really, you just don't like Justin Fields or Mac Jones is what it comes down to, not the fourth quarterback.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because I think that those guys are going to be the fourth quarterback, and Justin Fields intrigues me a hell of a lot more than Mac Jones, but I'm not sold. There was like a moment there. I was so big on Justin Fields last season, moving into this season. I was excited to see him take a big leap forward. I said things like, I think he has a chance this season to play himself into the conversation for the number 1 pick with Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately, he went the other way, in my opinion. And as we're seeing now, we're talking about him as potentially the fourth quarterback off the board. Obviously, some guys jumped up. I think he regressed a little bit just in terms of the hype around him. And so now I'm just a little worried. I wouldn't be mad if they got Justin Fields, but I'm more concerned about his success than I am about the first 3 guys that we've mentioned.
Yeah, he went the other way, and certainly you look at the Indiana game and the Northwestern game as the games where he went the other way. Northwestern threw the kitchen sink at him schematically, and he didn't respond well to it. But then it seemed to me like he made up a lot of that ground when he went up against Clemson, and not only in terms of how he diced up that defense, but also if you're trying to kind of put yourself in a coach's perspective, I don't think it's possible for a quarterback to show any more toughness than Justin Fields did in playing that semifinal game against Clemson with all the injuries that he was dealing with at that point, and playing well despite being hurt.
And guys, we have some more breaking news coming down from Field Yates. Says the Eagles have traded the 6th pick in the draft to Miami for the 12th pick and a 2022 first rounder. So essentially what the Dolphins did is they moved back from 3 to 6 and picked up a 2023 first round pick and a 2022 third round pick as that deal's been updated. So what do the What does Miami have in mind now? Are they still thinking quarterback?
I think they're thinking Kyle Pitts. I think they're thinking we're gonna give Tua the best weapon that we can find.
That's good. And in the process, they just they'll land one of the best players in the draft and an additional third and first round pick.
And think about it from Brian Flores' perspective. He knows what a great tight end can do matchup wise because he was around Gronk in New England. So I think that's the play here. I mean, when I saw that trade come across, I'm like, Kyle Pitts just makes so much sense for the Dolphins. It gives Tua that safety valve, gives you somebody that teams are going to have trouble covering. Tua would be doing backflips if Kyle Pitts is the Dolphins guy.
I think that this is a great trade for the Eagles. Now, they might have been in those conversations to try to move up to 3. If you're going to get a quarterback, you have to be in the top 5 if you want to get a good one. So I think maybe they were in those conversations to move up to 3. When they didn't get that, they said, all right, well, we're not getting quarterback this year, so let's move back. You pick up an extra first-round pick. It's the Dolphins. We'll see what happens with them. I think that's a good deal for them. All right.
Well, Ryan, Ian Rappaport, really quick, is saying that the Eagles tried to move to number 3, but they only wanted to do it if it was for Zach Wilson. And, good chance that the Jets take him. Maybe that's tipping the cap that the Jets are going to be taking him. Oh, man, this is spicy. I love this.
All right. We do have our guest here for the Red Zone. So we got him. Pig Tosser 66, our guy.
Hey.
Jump into the Red Zone here. What's up, my man?
What's up, fellas? Good
Pig
to be
Tosser,
on, man.
welcome.
Love that hat.
Guys?
Love the old school hat, man.
And the shirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Representing out here in beautiful Southern California, man. I grew up in Carbondale, so I I'm a Colorado kid at heart, but I've been out here for about 10 years now. So heart goes out to you guys too for what happened this week. It kind of, it hit me. I was still out there during Columbine. So I'm 45 now. So, but I've been out here, 10, 12 years, and it hits me every time, man. It's tough. So my heart goes out to you guys and everyone out there for sure.
Thanks, man. Well, we appreciate that sentiment. All right. Well, let's try and transition here and jump into our first round here. Mace, do you have the first set of questions?
Good luck, Pig Tosser.
Indeed, I do. And
hey, no Crimson Tide questions either, man.
Don't worry. The only one would be Jerry Judy. That's the only Crimson Tide direction they could go.
All right.
Okay. First question, gentlemen. We often talk about how many players remain on the Broncos roster from Super Bowl 50. Well, how many starters remain on the roster that started the first game of the Vance Joseph era?
Oh boy.
Started that game. 2017 season opener. Guys who started that night, Monday Night Football, still with the Broncos.
And we're just talking offense and defense, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go. There are 3.
Okay, Pig Tosser, what you got?
I got Vaughn, Brandon, offense, nobody, defense.
I feel good about 3. Wait, because no special teams, right?
Special teams, yeah. This is just starters, offense.
Yeah,
2. 2.
All right.
3.
Well, if we're doing closest to the pin, Zach, you win because
it's more.
So is it 4?
It's 4.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Here's what I have. Brian, what do you have?
Bowles.
Correct.
Vaughn.
Correct.
Simmons.
Yep,
Justin Simmons.
Exactly.
I forgot about Bulls.
And I don't know. This is which one I didn't have. The 4th.
Shelby Harris started that game.
Wow.
That was a good one. Nicely done,
man.
He started that game and he finished that game by getting his hand on the game time, on the potential game tying field goal, because that's just the kind of guy Shelby is.
What's crazy about Shelby in that year is he didn't really start getting buzz until what was it, the 3rd or 4th preseason game? I think he had a 2-sack preseason game. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to him after that, and he said, like, bro, honestly, before that game, I thought I was getting cut. Like, and then I had that game, and I was like, oh my God, I finally might stick around somewhere. And look where he is now.
Yeah. $27 million.
Pretty crazy.
All right,
Zach's up 1-0. You got to get this one to stick around.
All right. While he was a Bronco punter, Colby Wadman successfully executed a fake punt against the Chargers back in 2018. Who caught that fake punt pass?
2018?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember, it's a big special teams play, so think about core special teamers at the time.
Andy Janovich.
Correct.
Oh, he stunk him.
Yeah.
Jano. Colby Wadman to Jano, huh?
Yeah, that's why you wanted 22 Janos, right? Because he could also catch a pass.
Dude.
Wow.
I got smoked, man.
All right.
Well,
this is no joke. The red zone got me.
Okay, I've got a bonus question for you. Now, it's very difficult.
We're all pulling for you, Pig Tosser.
You're going to answer this unopposed, so you don't have to race anyone. But if you get this one right, you get to move on to the next round. And it is in honor of this very show.
Oh.
This one-year Bronco earned the nickname Circus during his days at Grand Valley State University. He played for the Broncos 1 year in the mid-2000s.
Grand Valley State.
Don't worry, Pig Tosser. I'm lost as well.
I know Mason.
I want to. I actually want to start singing a hint.
Is it
Let's sing the hint.
2000.
All right. Here's the hint I'm going to sing. $5 foot long.
Why is that in it?
Well, what is that? Who's that commercial for? That jingle.
Subway.
Subway.
Right.
Jared?
Yes.
Jared from Subway or just Subway?
Because
Subway.
this guy's claim to fame was that before he came to the Broncos, when he was trying to keep his football dream alive, he was working at Subway.
All right, there you go.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh.
That does ring a bell, man.
This is a tough one.
Oh, that does ring
Got
a
into
bell.
a fight at
though.
training camp.
Oh.
I'm out.
It was David Circus Kirkus.
Oh, wow. Pig tosser, I wouldn't have got that either,
Oh.
man.
Dude, I got hammered.
Well, it was great having you on, man.
Yeah,
looks like
dude,
you
you
got
guys
some-
are awesome.
It looks like you got a nice little like music setup back there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What are you working with?
This is my daughter's studio. Actually, she's 17. This is her.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's
Wow.
Damn.
You
great.
set her up well.
Woo!
She actually turned 17 today.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is her little. She's a little rocker. So yeah,
That's
this
awesome.
is her setup.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
hey.
too cool.
RK, I got some hookups out here in Cali. If you're out here, let's go hit around, man.
Absolutely.
Hit me up, dude. I got some hookups out here, so I'm sure you got some buddies, but let's make it happen.
All right, man. I'll have to let you know next time I'm down there.
All right, I'll
and
see you guys at the bar too, for sure. I'm coming out in the fall. Definitely,
Right
definitely
on.
be there, and it's one of my first stops.
sweet. Well, wish your daughter a happy birthday from us.
Absolutely.
Boom, for sure, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on, Pig Sir.
All right.
All right.
Man, what a
The red zone claims another victim.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous after that first week that we were just gonna be getting stomped. Now, if we lose one or two here, I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah, we've had a nice stretch here.
Yeah.
We won't get embarrassed because, if these guys were coming and just running through us every week, it'd be a bad luck. All right, Mace, as we always do, I'll finish with – I only got one for you today.
Okay.
Let me just count these really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Denver Broncos, in their history, have drafted 8 players from the University of Colorado.
Okay.
I'm deciding whether I want you to name 2 or 3. I'm going to say name 3 of them because 2 are generally pretty easy.
Okay. Players from CU. They drafted Bobby Anderson, right?
Yes, he is the lone first-round
Right.
pick for the Denver Broncos out of the University of Colorado.
And that's an
All right.
easy one, right?
That's the easiest one, at
Yeah.
least. Well, there is one that's pretty easy too, but it might take you a second to get there.
All right, I gotta start going back through drafts here. Hang on. Oh man, CU players that were Broncos. See, the funny thing is, I start thinking of CU players that became Broncos, and I think of Tyler Columbus, undrafted.
Not
Philip
drafted.
Lindsay, undrafted.
Yep.
Big Al, free agent. Oh man. Player CU.
I'll give you one hint here.
Jay Sean Sykes was undrafted, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint here.
Dave Bratton's doing his job because those are the undrafted guys are his guys.
There was a 39-year gap
Mm-hmm.
between one of these guys and the most recent one.
Okay, 39 years. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I know all late. I just don't want to spoil it for Mace.
Well, yeah, but that. Well, yeah, that means at some point after Bobby Anderson, the gap came and it was a massive gap. All right.
In there, yep. There's actually, it's after Bobby Anderson by a few.
Yeah.
There's a couple more after Bobby Anderson before this most recent.
Which means you take that. Yeah. It's I am, man. CU players. Oh,
Ryan,
I
you
gotta
stumped
say,
the Mace.
I think you're stumping me on this, man.
All right, that's why I thought 3 was going to be really hard because the second one is kind of easy, but it's almost too easy that you just wouldn't think of it. Most recently, 2019, Juwan Winfrey.
Juwan Winfrey, yeah. Okay.
In the 6th round.
Yeah. Or with Tyree Cleveland, I mean, he came and went so fast, he barely even said hello and goodbye.
Yeah, I'll be honest, any of the other ones on here I've barely heard of. 1980, they drafted nose tackle Laval Short. 75, a defensive tackle by the name of Bubba Bridges. 1974, Ozell Collier. 1972, Larry Brunson. 1969, Mike Schnitker. And 1968, Charles Greer.
Isn't it amazing, though, to think about the fact that CU was one of the best programs in the country for about a 15-year stretch, and in that time, the Broncos didn't draft one buff.
I know, but they ended up with a few of them.
Yeah, they did, but they were all, but none drafted. Wow. I can safely say that I would have gotten none of those guys. Except Bobby.
Really?
Yeah. See, that's why I was like, I should have just gone with 2, because Juwan Winfrey is almost like a little bit of like a trick. Like you just aren't thinking of him, even though he's right there.
Right. Yep.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, very well could still be on the roster.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Okay, let me quickly figure out who I got to tell you guys about here. I'm pulling a Hank right now, having the read ready.
Well, I'll tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And guys, we have the tournament coming at us again tomorrow. Absolutely can't wait for it. And DraftKings is putting you in the center of the action, giving you 100-1 odds again on the tournament using that promo code DNVR. So what you have to do to turn $1 into $100 is go to DraftKings Sportsbook, pick any college basketball game that's still in it this weekend, and if that team wins, you'll win $100. It is simply that easy. You can get in on games tomorrow. You can get in on games on Sunday. So many games available for you to use. And also, of course, you can go in on the NBA. Heck, you want to get in on its first game with Aaron Gordon? Hit that on Sunday. You want to get some hockey action? You can do that as well with great daily odds boosts that they have. DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your money at any time. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if the college basketball team of your choice pulls out the dub this weekend. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, and then of course we got the Colorado XOs, which is a really exciting little project that they're trying down there in Rugby Town USA, in Glendale. Glenwood.
Beautiful
in Glendale,
downtown Glendale,
which feels like it's just Denver. It's always kind of confusing to me. But Glendale is Rugby Town USA, and they're trying out a new experiment down there where they're taking athletes from all different sports, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, and saying, okay, well, it didn't work out for you in those respective professional leagues. Can we teach you how to become elite rugby players? Can we get you onto Team USA? So it's a whole team. It's a hodgepodge of former professional and college athletes of all different sports, and they're teaching these guys how to play rugby, and it's pretty cool. They're off to a decent start. They won their first game. Lost one after that, but it's kind of a cool thing that we've got going on in our backyard here as we try to create the next great USA rugby player. And you can follow the Colorado XOs via the DNVR Rugby podcast with our guy Colton Strickler, and all of our written content on DNVR Rugby on DNVR.com, thednvr.com. That's some good stuff, and gives a chance for the US to be relevant in rugby in a way it hasn't been. So really cool to have that going on in our backyard. Also want to tell you about ZoomCare, because with ZoomCare, you might never have to sit in a doctor's office again. That's right. If you hate going to the doctor like the rest of us, check out ZoomCare. Of course, the one thing we can take away from this pandemic is the ability to do more things from the comfort of our own home, like this show, for example. But nobody likes sitting in a doctor's office or even going to the doctor for that matter, but we all need to take care of ourselves. So check out Zoom's Video Care, because it's like going to the doctor just from your couch. You can see, hear, and chat with your doctor just like a traditional office visit. Get secure access to urgent, primary, and
care, including mental health. And guess what? Zoom's video care is covered by most private insurers, usually with a copay. So check it out by going to ZoomCare.com to get started. That's ZoomCare.com to get started. And remember, supporting our partners is supporting us. So help out ZoomCare. They want to see an increase in video visits from Colorado. And of course, you're helping yourself out. You got something that's bothering you, something nagging, but you don't want to go to the doctor. You don't want to go to the office, but you want to take care of it right there at home. Check out ZoomCare. Another cool thing, guys, is that sometimes if you go through ZoomCare, one of the things I found by using it is that I got an appointment far before when I would have gotten an in-person appointment. And that's key. Maybe you won't have to wait around for 2 or 3 weeks to get an appointment with a doctor. You could probably talk with a doctor in the next couple of days via ZoomCare. Thanks for that. So check it out. ZoomCare.com. That's ZoomCare.com. And you might never sit in a doctor's office again.
Yep. I highly recommend ZoomCare. It is a really awesome product.
Yep.
All right, guys. We finish here with a draft. Now, we've done food drafts. But this one became extra relevant today. We're going to do a draft of the available quarterbacks in the draft. Now, it might get a little messy here in the later rounds of said draft, but I believe the order today is Mace. Mm-hmm. Is it Mace, me, then Zach, or is it Mace, Zach, then me?
Yeah, I think
you're 2, Ryan.
Okay, yeah. I'll take 2.
You owe me a top pick because of you took my top pick in the Hot Pockets draft. But
terrible. And yeah. then I won. I didn't even feel good about it.
You jumped the line, man. So,
guys, I gotta say, obviously, pick 1 is great to have Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm sitting in the sweet spot with pick 3 here.
You might be, but this is the easiest pick atop a draft I think that we're ever going to have, because while there is a lot that is intriguing. I don't even say his name, and Kale puts him up there, but he's not wrong. There's a lot that's intriguing about Zach Wilson, who I'm watching right now work out at his pro day. You can catch that on NFL Network. Get that second screen experience going and watch us and also watch the workout. So there's a lot that's intriguing about Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and frankly, guys, I've reached a point where I would be happy with any of those quarterbacks in orange and blue. But Trevor Lawrence is generational. And the thing about Trevor Lawrence, even more so than Mac Jones, Trevor has got the highest floor of any of these quarterbacks. Lawrence, maybe he doesn't become an elite quarterback, but I think he is at least a top dozen quarterback, and quite frankly, a top dozen quarterback when he walks in the building in Jacksonville here in a few weeks. Just by becoming a Jaguar, he's going to make that team better, open up horizons for them. You could see a scenario, guys, where with Deshaun Watson potentially out in Houston, with Carson Wentz, if he doesn't bounce back in Indianapolis, and if the Titans take a step back because of that defense, if Trevor Lawrence is all he can be, the Jags could be pushing for the playoffs this year.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence, he's clearly the number 1.
And of course, he has Laviska Shenault, so that'll help.
Oh, you think Laviska wasn't the happiest guy in Northeast Florida when the Jets blew the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, I am sure he was very happy about that. All right, Here's
where the draft starts, really.
Yeah,
with the number 2 pick.
And I'm just going with my guy here. Like, I'm not trying to, do anything fancy. I'm taking my favorite quarterback left on the board. It's Trey Lance. There's just so much there. I mean, you look at the way this guy's built. He's a thoroughbred. He's known for his ability or his knowledge of the playbook, and his ability is on the board. He's done everything except for rack up stats like a lot of these guys do in college. That hasn't been his thing. Obviously at North Dakota State, they don't have to do much to just dominate everyone they play out there. So he hasn't been put in too many positions where he's having to throw the ball all over the yard. But man, I just look at this guy and I just say, I think you're overthinking it if you're worried about that sort of stuff. You just look at what he has, the abilities that he has, the knowledge that he apparently has. And once you can get that stuff, sorted out and figured out, you put him in the right system, this guy is going to thrive. And I think if it's San Francisco, it's going to be quick.
Well, I have to tell you what, San Francisco right now with the 3rd overall pick, they are thrilled. They tried to get up to number 2 to get Zach Wilson, but they wouldn't budge, and they're just blown away that Zach is there. And I'll tell you what, Zach is happy to land Zach Wilson coming out of BYU, guys. This kid can do it all. Zach is so happy to land Zach Wilson here. Just thrilled. Would have been happy with Trey Lance as well, of course, but number 2 pick just fell to number 3. So thrilled about that.
Fair enough. All right.
Now here's where the real decision comes in, and
not a real decision for you.
I'm trying for the people. This is to win. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to find out what Ryan didn't want, and he just tipped his hat there. So
you knew exactly what I didn't want.
So of course, Zach spelled Z-A-C is going Mac. M-A-C, but for the people, we're going Justin Fields here, taking this guy who was supposed to be the number 2 overall pick. Justin Fields going to Zach to pair up Zach Wilson, Zac Stevens, and Justin Fields.
I hate you.
Wow, I literally left him speechless. Ryan, do it. Go someone other than Mac.
You can't. You just can't. I'm not going Kellen Mond. I'm definitely not going Kyle Trask. I wish I could just trade out of this pick for like a 2022 fourth.
Of course, now you have to do this to me.
Yeah. I mean, nice kid, great personality, might make you laugh, but I guess I'll take Mac Jones. I'm not.
No
sold.
one better be voting for your team.
I'm not sold at all, but I mean, I don't like anyone else either. I'll take Mac Jones begrudgingly.
Wow. Ryan, you better not win this draft. Holy cow.
Well, I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds too, because there's Trey Lance people and Mac Jones people. I might get both of them voting for me.
I can't stand this.
Oh, man. So now here I am, and I'm not surprised at where this leaves me, but I also think that the choice here in this round and then at the top of the next round, I think the choices are obvious. And first up, I'm going to take Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M, somebody who I think is, even though Chris Sims has him higher than most, actually has him ahead of Justin Fields and Trey Lance. I think Kellen Mond probably settles somewhere in round 2 unless somebody gets a little bit frisky and desperate. And something of a projection, but you like the athleticism, you like the mobility that he possesses, the ability to make a lot of different throws. I think he's going to have a pretty good level jump going from the offense he ran at A&M to the NFL. So I think you got to give him some time, but there are some intriguing tools there. And speaking of intriguing tools, I'm opening the 3rd round with Jamie Newman out of Wake Forest. And this is the guy who has a cannon of an arm. It was interesting to watch Jamie Newman and Mac Jones work back-to-back at the Senior Bowl, because Mac Jones, he's got all the off-speed stuff, but he clearly doesn't have the raw arm talent of the other quarterbacks that we're talking about in this exercise. Jamie Newman, he's the guy that, if you're making the baseball analogy, he's got the fastball that touches 100 on the gun. He has a howitzer. The problem is, he hasn't learned how to take anything off of that just yet. And so when Jamie Newman was throwing with the wind down at South Alabama's stadium for Senior Bowl practices, the ball was going all over the place. Newman's a project, but did well at Wake Forest. I would have loved it if he could have played this past season at Georgia, because he transferred and then he opted out because of COVID concerns. But Newman is a nice flyer to take on day 2 if you haven't gotten your quarterback on day 1, in part because you can just kind of incubate him, develop him, and see where he goes. I mean, you take chances on day 2 on high upside guys. I mean, Drew Lock's kind of is a high upside guy, and that's a guy that was a guy worth taking a chance on in the 2nd round. I think Jamie Newman is that kind of quarterback too.
God, I hate my team. No one vote for me. I mean, I guess I love Trey Lance, but other than that, I mean, look, there's really like I don't really. My hands are tied. There's no one left that I like. I guess I'm taking Kyle Trask. I don't like Davis Mills. I don't like.
I like the question mark there that Kale put.
Yeah, just leave it like that. Honestly, I don't care. I mean, Ian Book, like, what are we doing here? These quarterbacks fall off fast.
Yeah.
After 5 for sure. So, yeah, give me Kyle Trask.
That's the nicest thing you've said about Mac Jones. I'm very happy that you put the fall off after number 5. Thank you, Ryan. He really appreciates it, and so do I.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into that, but I won't. I have to give I have to give my team some sort of chance here.
And guys, I'm gonna take maybe the best performer out of the rest of this group here, because Ryan, you mentioned some of these guys: Davis Mills, Ian Book. I tried to convince myself by saying, Stanford guy, but no, I just can't do it. So I'm gonna go with the guy that has produced the most. I'm gonna go with Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year. Year before, 32 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Year before that, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I like the production there. He's kind of like the Mac Jones, I guess you could say, where, doesn't have every single tool that you want, but he's a guy that has produced. So I'm happy with that being the 9th quarterback off the board. And man, it just rounds my team into the perfect team, guys.
Yeah, as I'm looking across the board here, I think Zach might win.
Oh my goodness. I've never won one of these guys. This would be big.
I don't think you've ever even gotten second place.
Oh, hey, watch yourself now.
I don't know. I mean,
think I have a chance here if I get Team Lance and Team Jones on my side.
Yeah, and then you get some Florida people too. There's a lot of people in Florida.
I think what could be hurting Mace is like no Broncos fans have any hope of getting Trevor Lawrence. So like, while he's clearly the best option here, like Broncos fans aren't personally excited about him.
And like you said, Ryan, you and I each got 2 of the guys in the top 5. Mace, while he clearly the best player on the board, that's the problem of not getting the top guy, or with getting the top guys, you miss out on the 2 of them.
If I don't win, I will never forgive you for going against your own feelings just to try to win.
Yep, you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm on the right side of the gap, like, because the first gap is 1 to 2 from Lawrence to the next cluster, and then I'm on the wrong side of it because the next gap is at 5 is after 5, but then I think the third gap is after quarterback 7, because I think you got Lawrence kind of up here, then the next 4, and then Mond and Newman are kind of in a level to themselves, a tier, that third tier to themselves, and then the rest of it's just. I mean, I hate to say trash, but I don't have.
You could say it's Trask.
Yeah. I don't have many hopes for those guys. I will say this: if I had the last pick of the 3rd round and I already had Trevor Lawrence, I would have picked Ian Book, because I think Book is going to settle as somebody who's kind of that Jim. He could be what Jim Sorgi was to Peyton Manning for Trevor Lawrence, basically.
That sounds great.
Ian Book, T-Law, I'll be your Sorgi.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
I'll be your guys' Sorgi.
He's not even invited to the Sorgi.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
3 rings has gone off the hooks.
3 rings has officially gone off the hooks. And as we cross 90 minutes of showtime here, I think that's probably a good place for us to wrap things up. This was awesome. One of my favorite shows we've done yet. Vic absolutely killed it. Pig Tosser he played along. But we got to give a birthday shout out to his daughter. That was nice. Yes. I guess I've got a golf date set up when I go down to Southern California, a place that I actually have never played golf before. So this was a successful show, guys.
It was great. And guys, it's just going to be capped off with me winning the great 2021 quarterback draft. I thank you both.
I'm sorry. The further I get away from my personal disappointment in my picks, the more I think I might have a chance here.
Oh, no. I got you on the record already. God, I hate my team. No one vote for me.
Yep. You can't, the people might not listen to me. I don't know what to tell you. Before we get out of here, one last shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group, the best damn family-owned dentist group in the metro area. Just about everyone in the DNVR family is switching over to Green Mountain Dental Group for their dentistry needs. We've got Allie going over there for her wisdom teeth. Lindsay did the same thing. Michaela's been there. Brandon's going there. I'm set up to go there soon. You can schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam over there and get a free Sonicare toothbrush when you do. And like I said, they'll treat you like family because they are part of the DNVR family. They're the type of people show up at the bar with the whole family. Everyone's wearing an Avs jersey. You love to see it. So if you're looking for a new dentist in the metro area, Green Mountain Dental is the place for you. But for another episode of Three Ring Circus, that wraps it up for us. Everyone have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you guys next week.